All right, time for another episode of the Josh Cast, which is so. What's going on? Here's what's happening. I'm a little preoccupied. My mother is in the hospital, and so I'm a little I'm concerned. And whenever I do stand up and whenever I do this stuff, I always like to be candid about what's going on in my life, and because for me, finding the humor in the terrible things is what seems to be the most beneficial. And I am, but the other thing I'm finding with what's going on right now is it's all kind of happening. And I don't really. I want to take some time to process it before I start talking about it, and that's my thought there. But that is happening, and so I'm scared and I'm sad. The one thing I will say, and I do believe that. My mother, who's got the best sense of humor ever, I believe would be the first to laugh at this. But I think a couple of weeks ago she got the vaccine, and then a week later she had to go to the hospital. And it seems, from what I'm hearing, like the prognosis is, at least for the moment, fairly good. But if she should die, and I say this with nothing but love for my mother. If she should die, it is kind of a waste of vaccine. I want to, I want her to live a long life. I really do, a long, happy life. But I also want to go to a restaurant. So I'm a little torn there. So I will be, and I'm recording this Sunday night, February 7th. Though I am releasing it Monday, February 8th. And I'll keep you informed as we move on with this. And I will have more to say as it so happens. I think the other thing I want to mention with this is, I've been doing this podcast now for 4 or 5 years. I have my loyal 8 people listening. I think one of them's from Spain. Buenos dias. And I just lost the Spain listener. And I've been, trying different formats, or should it be this or should it be that? And I've said this before, and I will say this again now. I really am only interested in doing stand-up. I don't, for instance, want to do an interview show. I'm not interested. I don't want to share this with other people. I only want my thoughts flying out there. And so for me, this podcast is me basically doing a 20-minute stand-up set without having written anything, not in front of anybody, and it is what it is. But that's what I'm trying to do in my life, is I'm trying to eliminate all the things I don't want to do and only do exactly what I want to do. Because in the past, I would say, well, if I want to have a career in stand-up, then I need to do this X, Y, and Z and do all these things in order to achieve that. And I realized that was ludicrous, because the stuff I thought I had to do, I hated doing, so I was miserable, and it wasn't getting me anywhere. So I'm trying to make peace with the fact that I'm not Marc Maron. I'm not gonna do an interview show where I bring on my friends or celebrities and build the podcast. That's not what I want to do. That's not who I am. I'm just here for the laughs. I'm just here for the comedy. So this, and I think the other thing about this podcast, I mean, what this really is that it's also kind of an opportunity for me to write, and for me to just, come up with stuff off the top of my head, and you're welcome to listen and enjoy it. And you're also welcome to stop listening to it 100%. I think the one thing I would ask is that, please tell people about this. Like, if you find this amusing, if you find me amusing, please do share on your social media. Tell your friends. The phrase I always heard is if you love us, tell your enemy. No, if you love us, tell your friends. If you hate us, tell your enemies. And sure, whatever you need to do. I don't know if that would realistically work, because I just have a hard time believing that that the prime minister of one country that's at war with another country, and the diplomatic relations are terrible, is going to call up the other country and go, listen, I just want to let you know that you should listen to Joshua Snyder's podcast. And the other prime minister would say, I don't get it. Why are you giving me a podcast recommendation? We're at war. And the first one says, just do it. Just go ahead and do it. I highly, highly, highly recommend you listen to Joshua Snyder's podcast. And the other guy says, did you hate the podcast, and because we're enemies, you're just trying to foist this podcast on me? And the first one says, no, not at all. I really think you should listen to that podcast, Joshua Snyder. So, at any rate, long story short, if you enjoy this, tell your friends. Tell all the friends in Spain. Oh man, I'm a sad, nerdy loner, and the problem is I'm probably the only people who might be interested in this would most likely be other sad, lonely, nerdy loners, and so who are they going to tell? And I didn't mean to disparage you. I'm not judging you when I say you're a sad, lonely loner. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just kind of assuming that because I'm that, and because I tend to talk about the kinds of stuff I'm interested in, I'm assuming I'm attracting like-minded people. If one of you happens to be a really popular high school jock who plays football, and he's like, you know what, I want to hear a Jewish man who's pushing 40 wax philosophical about the Power Rangers for 20 minutes. I think I'll tune in. If that's your thing, great. Welcome to the party. Now, the other possibility is that nobody is listening to this podcast at all, and when I look at the analytics and it says there were 9 downloads, it could be bots downloading it. And if that's the case, hi to the bots. Hopefully this brings you some joy, assuming you're at that point in the evolution of computers where you can feel joy. I was making a social media plan. Social media plan today. All the posts I need to do on all my social media platforms, and in order to build an audience. And it's a very ambitious plan. It's basically revolving around me doing 2 of these podcasts a week, making 3 videos a day, posting stand-up clips online, just constant posting day in, day out, day in, day out. And I felt exhausted just making the spreadsheet. But I kind of think, I don't know, I was listening to Whitney Cummings, the first part of her podcast, and she was talking about how you just have to work harder. Just have to work harder. And I'm thinking maybe that's my problem. I'm not working hard enough. So I'm going to work harder, and instead of posting mildly funny things here or there, I'm probably going to post way less funny things more often. And tomorrow, I will take over the world. The world will be my oyster mañana. So my other thought was, well, maybe I should at least have themes. And I feel like, here's the thing, I'm only had sex with one person, so there's severe problems relating with other people. So there's neuroses. Let's just call that the neuroses. I'm Jewish. Now, should that be a different category, being Jewish over here and neuroses over there? Or is it the same? Because from a branding perspective, there is a lot of overlap. The QAnon stuff scares me a little bit as it relates to Judaism. That's a bit scary. And the lady saying that fires are started by Jewish lasers, Jew lasers, which, I don't know, I guess Steven Spielberg, goes in the back of his house, opens his shed, and it turns out the shed is not a shed. It leads to a secret facility where he and Mel Brooks and J.J. Abrams all get together and they go, all right, guys, we need to set fire to the place we live in. How do we propose we do that? Well, we've got Jewish space lasers. Fantastic. It's good to be a conspiracy in the 21st century. Let's go ahead and aim the lasers at our houses. Phenomenal. People believe this. That's what's scary. I was talking about this with my dad. This is scary. Like my passport expires in a few months, and I am going to get it renewed, not because I want to see the world and experience life, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, is it time to run? Is it time to escape? Is my theory that the Jews get about 100 years to chill, and then there's a major culling, and then we got a boom? Are we reaching that point? 2040? Is it going to be a repeat of 1940? I don't know. It scares the crap out of me. Also because I have this very Jewish face, so I can't exactly just hide. I'm kind of right out there. And I'm talking about it on all of these platforms, posting about it 3 times a day, 7 days a week. They will not have any trouble finding me when they come and they demand that I turn over my Jew laser. And I'll tell them I don't have that. I have an old generation iPhone. Would you like that? I have a model of the Starship Enterprise, which does not. It can light up, but it can't. It's not a laser. It doesn't have that ability. Spielberg, J.J. Abrams, and Mel Brooks aiming the laser. That'll show them. J.J. Abrams saying, what's the plan again? I don't see how this helps the Jews. Destroying property of our own stuff? I don't get it. So, there's that. Nothing new on the relationship front. I still don't have a girlfriend. I'm talking more openly about my bisexual... Oh, I could share this. So, I woke up at the beginning of last week with my jaw hurting and this weird feeling in my ear. Not pain, but like an itchiness. Or that something was aggravated. And I think this is what happened. I had a dream wherein I was filleting a man. I was giving a man pleasure, oral pleasure. And somehow, in the scope of that dream, I think I pulled my jaw. I think I gave myself TMJ. Or maybe the term is TMBJ. Hey, comedy. Like and subscribe. And there's a lot to unpack there, I think. A lot to unpack. I didn't know that I could... I'd like to think that means I'm good at it. That I give 110%. I care about your pleasure. Hopefully that's what that means. But it also got me paranoid, thinking, 'cause I don't know. I'm hearing about how, I think another comic was saying this. I can't remember who, but the fact is, everybody who gets COVID somehow has different symptoms. And I thought to myself, is this my COVID? A weird blowjob dream and an injured jaw? Is that how it lands for me? But that happened, and it's feeling better now. Took about a week, but it's finally calming down. It's finally ameliorating. Is that the right use of the word ameliorate? I think so. I've ordered some Starbucks today. I need to check to see what time it is. What time is it? 6:47. I stand corrected. 6:48. 6:48, people. I'm about to do my birthday show at 7 tonight. By the time you have heard this, I will have already done it, which is a great way to promote it. Well, if you have a time machine, go back in time and see the show. Although the latest theory on time travel is that if you go back in time and you change history, you're not actually changing the current timeline, you're just creating an alternate universe that has an alternate history. So Back to the Future, Star Trek, whenever they go back in time and they alter they make an alteration, then it's creating another universe. It's not fixing the actual time. Apparently, all those movies are now wrong, based on science, which is depressing. I don't like it when my science-based science fiction becomes outdated. It's why I could not really ever get on board with John Carter of Mars, because we know that Mars does not have, or Mars did not have, in the early 1900s or late 1800s, an attractive-looking woman wearing a bikini who was the princess of Mars. We know that did not happen. I think of the moment where, fictionally, there was a princess of Mars. On the actual Mars, there was a dust storm, and that's about it. And that might be maybe not even that. So it's hard for me to get on board with John Carter of Mars. I can't buy into that. I have trouble with that. I suppose you could change, you could keep it John Carter, but make it another planet that's just halfway across the galaxy. Then I'd be okay. Then I'd be fine with that. Well, then that's Farscape. But great. I'm on board with that. That's fine. I have trouble when we know that nothing is on Mars. Well, we don't know for sure. Maybe they're underground, and maybe there's something we haven't discovered yet. That's true. That's entirely possible, but also highly doubtful. I think we've seen enough of Mars to know that Mars is Mars, and that's fine. It's okay. Listen, they can't all be planet Earth. Sometimes Mars is just Mars. Maybe that should be the name of this podcast. All right, well, I did it. 20 minutes. I don't want to do an hour. That seems like too much. This 20 minutes might be too much for you. But there we go. Thank you, and have a lovely day.